here I am going to explain tokens in Java. Now what is this token? Token is the smallest individual unit of a program. It may be any language program. Everywhere the definition is same. Token is the smallest individual unit of a program. Our program is formed of different tokens. Means if you are considering one instruction from our Java program, that will be formed of a token. For example, see, if we write any Java program like this, first we write like that class test suppose, and here public static void in and args system dot out dot println, and here let I am writing that hello world slash n. You can write again just like C++. Okay, here in this program, this class, this space, this test, this one, this public static void main string, this bracket, these are all tokens. This args, this one, everything is considered as a token. Token is the smallest individual unit. If you are considering this word, this dot, this space, this round bracket, this square bracket, this semicolon, curly brace opening and closing, all are tokens. Getting? Means smallest individual unit of a program is called as a token. There are multiple types of tokens. The first is keyword. Now here, see, you can see that this class is a keyword. This void, static, public, these are all keywords. Okay, keywords. This main is not a keyword. We have already discussed about this main. Main is a predefined identifier. Okay, then string, this is again predefined identifier. String is a predefined class. Okay, args, this is what? This is the identifier. Okay, this square bracket, leave it, this is actually a separator. Okay, now here this semicolon is again a separator. Separator means it will separate each and every instruction of our Java source code. Okay, now see the keyword, then second one is identifier. Everything I am going to explain. First, the token may be keyword, it may be identifier. Third one is a literal and constant. Okay, both can be used interchangeably, but normally whatever fixed values in a program, those should be considered as a literal. Next, fourth one is a separator, then fifth one is operators, sixth one comment. It is again a part of token. If you are placing here any comment, then that will be again a token. Okay, means token is a smallest individual unit of a program. Means here we can say that our program is a nothing but combination or collection of tokens. Now tokens are classified into different types: keywords, identifiers, literal, separators, operators and comments. Now one by one I am going to explain all these concepts. Okay, any doubts? Now keyword are reserved words by the language, predefined words by the language. Okay, actually keywords, there are reserved words. If you are considering reserved words are reserved for specific purpose by the language. The reserved words are categorized into two types here. See, keywords, and second one, reserved literals. Whatever reserved words, those we cannot use to give name to any class, any function, any variable. Means keywords or these reserved literals both cannot be used for identifier purpose. Java language is having 50 keywords. Okay, data type related keywords are there. Like int is a keyword, it represents integer data type. Int, float, then char, then double, then long, short, then byte. Byte is again a keyword. Okay, these are just some keywords which are related to the data type. If you are considering that control statements, the control statement keywords are like if, else, then switch, case, then break, then for, do, while. In this class related, some of them I am going to write here. Class related, tell me class related keywords. Like class is a main keyword. Okay, then
private, public,
yes, private, public, protected, default. Then final. Then okay, whenever we will see that class and object concept, then you will get more idea about whatever class related keywords. These are just some examples of keywords. These keywords cannot be used for identifier purpose. Those are having their own meaning, and for that specific purpose we have to use these keywords. One more point, all the keywords are always in small case letter. It is a compulsion. Okay, then next point, reserved literals. Reserved literals, we have used these like true, false and null. You have used this null in C and C++ to represent value of pointer variable. If it is not pointing anywhere, then you can write there null. Okay, that is actually the null keyword. Here you want to initialize any object reference, then you can write there null. If nothing, then that can be null. This is for object reference. Then true and false, there is a boolean data type. See, there is one more keyword, that is boolean. Boolean is again a data type in Java. Now this boolean data type, if you are having any boolean variable, then to assign initial value to that boolean variable, we can use either true or false. These are predefined by the language. These are fixed. Okay, whatever fixed values, those are called as literals. But if we have suppose written like integer x equal to 10, this 10 is what? It is an integer literal, integer fixed value. This is an integer literal. Here we can specify any value, like any integer. Okay, but here if you have written like boolean x equal to, there are only two possible values, either true or false, and those are reserved for that specific purpose by the language. And actually you are writing here like true or false. Actually this is the value of that x boolean variable. Here you are giving value to that x variable. Okay, and this is reserved for that specific purpose, but this is not a keyword. This true, false and null, these are not keywords. These comes under this reserved literal category. Getting? Now, see, if there is a class like ABC and you are writing only ABC obj, what does it mean? Here you are actually not creating object. You are just creating object reference, and if you want to give any initial value to this object reference, then you can specify here null. This is null. See here on right hand side we are writing this, and this is a fixed value, that's why it is a literal, and this is reserved. Null you cannot use for giving name to anything, any program element. That's why just keep in mind, tokens in Java, here you can write first as a reserved words, and in that you have to write two things, that is keywords and reserved literals. Any doubts in this? Again there is a exception handling in Java, in that we use try, catch, throw. Those are again keywords. Okay, now that's it about keywords. The next point in this tokens in Java, that is identifier. Identifier is names in a program are nothing but identifiers. Those may be given by Java itself or may be given by programmer. See, if programmer is giving any name, that is a programmer defined identifier, and Java has already defined some identifiers for some specific purpose, like main is a predefined identifier. String is a name given to class, that is again a identifier. If you are creating any variable, and for that if you are writing like integer x, then this x is a name given by programmer, because programmer is creating this x. This is a user defined or programmer defined identifier. You must know the difference between whatever system Java defined and programmer defined. Okay, again there are two categories. Now see, identifiers means you can give name to variable, function means here method. Always everything should be enclosed inside a class. That's why we have to call functions in Java like as a methods always, static or non-static method. Always function is in the form of method in Java, because Java is having everything inside a class, and whatever functions you are writing inside a class, those are always methods. Okay, now if you are giving name to any variable, any method, any class, then that is nothing but an identifier. Okay, there are some predefined identifiers, name like main is a predefined identifier, string we are using that string args, that string is a predefined identifier, that is name given by language itself to that string class. Getting? Those are predefined identity. String is not a keyword, always keep in mind, it is a identifier, it is name given to class. Okay, but whatever basic data types, primitive data types, int, char, float, those are keywords. Any doubts in this? Next, it may have alphanumeric characters. This is the first rule, means alphabets and digits both are allowed. Identifier may have alphanumeric character, means it may have alphabets or digits. It can have only two special symbols are allowed. The first one is dollar and underscore. Okay, next, it may not have spaces, means we cannot give spaces in between that identifier name. Spaces are, means white spaces are not allowed. Next, here alphabets or digits or special symbols are allowed, but identifier name should start with an alphabet or any special symbol, but it should not start with a digit. Okay, it should not start with a digit, and white spaces are not allowed. There is no any limitation on length of identifier, but always you have to prefer small length, that is maximum 15 characters you have to use in identifier name. That is okay, fine, but more than 15 is valid in Java, allowed in Java, but it is not preferred. Okay, means see, if you have given any identifier like, see, I want to store roll number of a student, then simple I can write roll underscore number, just like in C++. Okay, I want to store marks of any subject of a student, then I can write like M1, it is okay, $1, it is again okay. Okay, means this is a valid identifier name. If you are giving underscore $1, again it is fine. Okay, means these special symbols are allowed. You are writing like $sub1, again it is fine. Okay, means it can start with alphabet. This is a dollar symbol, this is underscore, everything is allowed. But if you are giving name like one sub, then it is not allowed, it is invalid identifier name. Okay, you are writing like underscore one sub, it is fine. Now okay, getting? Means it should not start with a digit, it may have capital or small case alphabets. Here again one more point, that it is a case sensitive language. Case sensitive means capital and small will be differentiated. Because let you have declared one number variable int, you can write like number let equal to 10, you have written, and 1 again you are declaring here like number equal to 20. These are considered as a two different variables, because here n is small, here n is capital. Getting? These are just identifier rules in Java, and identifier is nothing but name given to any element in a program by either language or by programmer. Getting? Now the next one is a literal. Now literals, see, literals are fixed values in a program. Constant word you have to use for the variables whose value we cannot modify. Means any memory location if we are allocating, and if we are mentioning there its value cannot be modified, then consider that as a constant. And whatever fixed values if you are mentioning in a program, like we have just declared there integer a equals to 10 suppose, then this 10 is a fixed value, it cannot be modified, it is having its fixed existence, fixed value, and this is nothing but a literal. Literals are fixed values. Now there are multiple types of literals: integer literal, character literal, float literal. Okay, integer literals are always specified directly in this way. It may be in byte format or int format or long. Okay, long means big integer. Okay, then there is no unsigned terminology in Java. Okay, unsigned you cannot write, all are considered as signed. Keep in mind this point. Now, see, whatever integer literals you can mention in decimal form, octal form and in hexadecimal form. There is no any restriction that you have to use always decimal form. Means, see, here I have specified value 10. This will be considered as a decimal 10. If you have written like this, integer a equals to 0 and then 10. If you have written like this, then this 10 will not be considered as a decimal 10. This will be considered as a octal 10. Getting? This is a octal value and you can give the octal value to integer. Getting? Next, if you want to specify any hexadecimal literal, then how to specify that? Here in this way, a equals to 0x and then 10, suppose I am writing. Actually this is hexadecimal 10, not actually its value and these three are different. See, in case of hexadecimal 10 will be, actually to specify 10 we have to specify a. Okay, that is different and 10 is different. 10 means actual value, decimal value of this 10 is, means this hexadecimal 10 is 1 into 16 raised to 1, means 16. Actually this is decimal 16 because 0 into 16 raised to 0 is nothing but 0. Okay, and 1 into 16 raised to 1, then it will be 16. Getting? Means its equivalent decimal value is 16. Means you are just like you are storing 16 decimal value to a. Getting? Now here this is a decimal value, octal value should be represented like this. In octal only 0 to 7 digits are allowed. Okay, then next one is here hexadecimal, you have to start with 0x. Here you can use this x small or capital anything. Getting? Small or capital anything you can use. Here in this case only Java is not case sensitive. Okay, keep in mind these points. Now next one is after literal there is a operator, symbol that is used to take any action on operands, mathematical or logical action. Operators are nothing but the symbols, those are used to do any mathematical or logical action on operands. For example, arithmetic operators like plus, minus, multiply, divide, modulus. Then you can use that and, logical not. These are again same just like C++. If there are any differences, we will just discuss operators concept in depth in separate session. Okay, operators are just symbols to represent any mathematical or logical action. That's it. Examples of operators are like plus, minus, multiply, divide, modulus operator, decrement operator, then and or not bitwise operators, and or XOR, then not operator is there. Okay, this is not bitwise, this is logical not. Okay, bitwise not is just like a complement. Okay, these are all operators. Operators are nothing but symbols to represent any mathematical or logical action. Now these are some examples of operators. Like these are arithmetic operators, these are unary operators, increment and decrement. These are some bitwise operators. Okay, these are all operators. Now one more, last is separator. Separators, you already know there is a one semicolon. We always use semicolon in program. What is the purpose of using semicolon? Terminate the line or to mention end of a line. Okay, end of a statement, that is called as a separator. Okay, the first separator is a semicolon that will represent end of statement in a Java. Okay, the next comma is a one separator. If you want to declare multiple variables of same type, what you use, like here, if you want to declare two variables of integer, then we here use comma to separate x and y. This is again a separator to separate two variables, you can say. Okay, then again comma we can use in for loop. In for, if you want to do multiple initializations, then there again you can use comma. Getting? Next separator is this one. This can be used to call any method, or in method definition again we use this. Whatever instruction you are writing, in that some part you are writing in this, means this part we are separating from this instruction. That's why it is again called as a separator, to give some separate or special meaning to this part. Getting? That's why this again comes under separator. Now whenever we want to write any method, in that method declaration, means in that method signature, we use this symbol. One, in again method call to pass arguments, again we use this symbol. These are normally used in methods. Then next, square bracket, these are normally used in case of array to mention subscript. Okay, normally used in arrays to mention subscript. Actually, to access individual array elements or to declare array, in both cases we use this operator. Okay, actually this is again you can say that it is a subscript operator, but it again acts as a separator. Okay, next one is this is to represent a block. See, again it is acting as a separator. How? See, let we have written some code and I want to separate this code. I want to give some meaning to this code. If you have written here if statement and then you have placed any block, then separate this part from the remaining code. You can write this block, and that's why it is again acting as a separator. You have to write this whole table in a separator. Okay, see, this is to represent block and it will act as a separator again. Okay, next one, dot. We are always using dot to represent. If you want to access member of a class, then normally we use dot operator. Access class member. These are separators in Java. First one, semicolon, always represents end of a statement. Every statement end should end with a semicolon. See, if you are writing somewhere like this, then these are called as a empty statements. You can write anywhere in Java any number of semicolons. No problem, you will not get error. Then next one is a comma to separate two variables, means if you are declaring multiple variables in a same line, if you want to declare, then you have to separate all those variables, means all those identifiers by comma. That is again a separator. In methods, while calling method or while declaring method, you have to write this one. Then square bracket we use in arrays. Then next one, this one to represent a block, and dot normally we use to access class members. These are all acting as a separator. Getting? Now again I am going to explain. Token is the smallest individual unit of a program. Our program is formed of different tokens. There are basically multiple types of tokens. Reserved words. In reserved words, keywords and reserved literals are there. There are 50 keywords in Java language, and reserved literals are true, false and null. Next one is a identifier. Identifier means names given to any program element are nothing but identifiers. Programmer can specify the name to any variable, any function, any class. Those are programmer defined identifiers, and some names given by the language to identify language elements, like the language has created already string class. That string is nothing but a predefined identifier. Main method is not a keyword, and it is a reserved identifier. Next, there are some rules you have to follow while giving identifier name. The first one is it may have alphanumeric character, it may have two special symbols like underscore and dollar. Next one is here you cannot give white spaces. Then next one is here there is no any restriction on length, but always preferred length is maximum 15 characters. Okay, and it should not start with a digit. It is always compulsory. It may start with any alphabet or any special symbol like underscore or dollar. And one more point, that these are case sensitive. Next concept is operators. Operators are the symbols which are used to represent any mathematical or logical action. Normally we use operators in expressions. Okay, there are some arithmetic operators like plus, minus, multiply, divide, modulus, some relational operators, some bitwise operators. Okay, those we will see in depth in operators part. Then next one is a separator. Okay, Separator means these are used to separate some part of a program, some instructions. Getting? These are all tokens in Java.